Hello and welcome to more Aurora 4. And where we left off last time was we found some filthy Xenos in the Veneer system, which blew up one of our explorers. So we are going to make preparations to visit them and eliminate them, because that is the gift and glory of life. Okay, so let's have a look at our shipyards. Now, one thing to say is before we start building our ships, I am waiting on a few key constructions, but I mean technologies, and we have a few shipyards upgrading and adding slipways. So we will wait a little bit before we start designing the fleet. So specifically, I'm looking for this control range technology, and the 15cm railgun is also really close. So I want this technology, quick snap fast, beam fire control. But while the bonus is good, I can only have 5 labs attached. And this guy can get 15% bonus, but 25 labs attached, right? So I can get the technology faster by having this scientist on it with more labs. So I'm going to do that. Delete to cancel project, yes. Sensors and control, here we go, create project, and now we can take some labs from this is actually problematic. Maybe from the railgun, because that's going to be done very fast. Okay, and then maybe from, I really don't need the reactor, and I still want to speed it up. I'm just trying to think of like all 3,000 and 4,400. It's definitely less than a year, but okay, I think that's just gonna have to be the way it's gonna be. It's gonna be a few months. So maybe we'll get those at around about the same time. In the meantime, normal economic activities continue. Okay, so they're building up the Taka colony, which is great. New jump point in Trokwa. So Event Horizon 2.4, you guys have basically done your job. So there's not much more I need from you, except to send you back to Earth, or maybe even to, which was the right planet? Techa, Gatas, and this Venez. So I'm sending this ship just to, I'm actually going to refuel and resupply to Earth. That's important. And then I'm just going to tell him to sit in the Gatas system. The reason being, he has sensors. And if you don't have sensors, you can't detect anything really. So that's the reason I'm sending that there. So we just try and get the research, and they're doing things. Not 100% sure what they're doing at the moment, but they're doing things. Okay. 2-4, where are you? Okay, you're orbiting at B. Yeah, and I think you can stay there. Yeah, you just have thermal sensors, so I don't have to worry about turning them on. Don't have active sensors on you yet. How's that research coming along? Okay, not too far off. Let's check what we're actually building on Earth. So we've got a military academy coming in very soon, so that's cool. A new naval shipyard coming in, well, at some point. And everything else. So yeah, this seems fine. Let's have a look at Techa, because yeah, we are building a colony up, which is very nice to see. Don't see very many mines. The main mines are still being ordered there, so that's good. Let's check the environment. I'm working quite hard. I thought I was much closer to breathable than I apparently was. I think it must be pressure. Just having not enough overall atmospheric pressure, and I think that's the same issue with Mars, because everything else seems to be fine in terms of how it should be breathable. If I had known it was going to take so long, I would have not had separate terraforming fleets, but there it is. Speaking of which, we are doing military preparations, but I think it's time to design a new terraforming ship, one that actually has a few more engines. Because, I mean, there's always terraforming to do. So 122,000 tons, let's do that. And first up, I think I can make a better ion drive technology. I don't believe I have one of these yet. So 50%, okay, and hull size, okay, so commercial ion drive. Let's create that as a project. And while I'm here, let's do a military one too. Okay, so engine power. Now for the military ships, I can pump up the engine power. So I can get more efficiency from it. I mean, not more efficiency, I can get more power out of it for a hull size, but it makes it more inefficient. And that's okay, because these ships are not intended to fly around all willy-nilly. They're going to go into harm's way. And once they're there, yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that they're not supposed to be flying around very fast, so don't mind them being efficient. Smaller is better because then I can fit more guns on it. So let's do that. And so let's just make sure that I don't have ion drive, and I don't. Okay, so I do have to research these, which makes it problematic because basically everything's committed. Yeah, so after that I'm going to attach and actually research it this time. Okay, unrest on Mars. Oh boy, I forgot about this. I have to deal with this. Do I have? Yeah, I've got Trooper. Okay, where are you? You're in the gutter system. So I have done this before. I forgot I've moved people around. So you're gonna have to go back to Earth. So do I have some infantry here? I don't. Okay, so you just go to Earth, and hopefully by the time I've got there, I will have built some garrison units. Oh, Geo-survey team. Okay. So I actually haven't done this before. That's okay. So what I want to do is create a basic garrison unit. And this is just some infantry. Improved personal weapons is fine. I'm just going to say infantry 1. And then I think I want a headquarters unit as well. That's HQ1. And these are going to be very, very, very basic. The only purpose these things are going to have is to keep unrest down, because unrest affects how productive a colony is. So if I go to ground combat, they're here, and they cost 20 and 6, so just going to instant these. So now I've got them done. I can create the formation, unit class design, formation templates, new, and I'm just going to say garrison. Garrison 1. Put just one of these in there. Headquarters unit, and some infantry ones. And yeah, that's it. In a later video, I'll go in more detail about maybe a bit more about how ground combat works. I haven't figured it out yet, but I know this will do the job for me fine in terms of keeping unrest down. So now I should be able to go to ground unit training, set my facilities, set garrison 1, and yeah, build them. And then once they're done, I'll pick them up, take them to Mars, and I'll quell the unrest. Building military ships, I think, also does the same thing. For power and propulsion is... Where are those engines? Power and propulsion. You're the researcher. Power and propulsion. I clicked the wrong thing. So, ion drive. That's the military one. Let's do the commercial one first, so I can get and then add to queue. Okay, let's cancel that project. Actually, it's really not that important, but I just realized that guy's a much better researcher, so let's cancel this project. and put our 45% bonus power and propulsion on these engines. That's a much better idea. Add to queue. Okay, so just waiting on this tech, that tech, and then we'll start designing some military ships. That's not good. Let's pretend that didn't happen and hope it affects nothing. Okay, cool. Got the garrisons. Where is Trooper 1? You are still moving very, very slowly. Huh. How slow do you go? Ugh. It's gonna take a while to get there. But it's very cool that the civilian fleet are also building up gutters. When I get the engines, I think I might need to design a better troop transport as well. Okay, let's have a look at the shipyard, see how they're coming along. These guys are still some ways away. We'll have this shipyard, that'll be good. And I am still building a new shipyard here with my industry. I'm about to run out of corundum on Earth. That's not great, but I do have a healthy store, and I'm mining heaps on Gong Gong with quite a lot of automated mines. So I've got a healthy supply at least. It might not be quite as much as I want, but it should be okay. And military academy, okay, so these are nearly done. Okay. Commercial iron drive is done. Okay. Yeah, so with that, let's update some designs. Yeah, so I want to upgrade this ship. So I'm going to copy class design, rename class, Trooper 2, and basically the only thing I want to do is remove these engines and add in these much better engines. Whew, 4,400. I was going 1,000 before. So I think that's fine. Let's increase. Yeah, and now we have Troop Transport 2. Too easy. Let's do the same thing for the Terraformer. So again, copy class design, rename class, Terra 2, take off the garbage bad engines. There were 6, we can remember that, and add in these ion engines. Geez, even with the ion engine, new ion engines is still super slow. Let's add another one. Okay. It's 700 kilometers per second. Terra 1 was a third of that. So look, it's a lot faster, but it ain't fast. Okay, let's do that. Terraformer 2, that seems fine. You're 120,000 tons. You fit in the shipyard. Let's build you. So we're first going to have to retool to the updated version of Terraformer 2. Set activity. And let's assign you, because I don't like having such a slow troop transport. And let's just make one of you. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, production military academy. So that means I should be getting better officers and more crew. So let's just add those extra construction factories to the shipyard. Let's finish that up quick sticks. Okay, slipway, good. Slipway shipyards. Now, where is it? Okay, it was here. So I'm gonna have to retool away from Event Horizon. So for the moment, I'm gonna keep this I'm not going to add anything to it because I want to be able to retool it to the new class that I want and add in. I don't want to count activities, basically what I'm saying. Okay, naval shipyard. Okay, so industry. I need to have a think about what to mine here. So I had 20%, so let's add another 5% to construction factories and add 15% to automated mines. Because I have a feeling neutronium and I might need to increase the number of automated mines on Hong Kong. Now, in interests, let's just get some more of his garrison teams. Just wait for that research. Let's have a look how we're going. Oh geez. So add all of them to there, and then we can hopefully those will come together at the same time. Shield generated 2. Okay, let's just get those engines. It's all about priorities. Okay, 111 orbiting Earth. Good. So we can tell you to refuel and resupply. Low ground unit. I don't think it will fit all of them. Unload all, but I'll take what it can, and that should reduce the unrest on Mars. Okay, it has ground units on Mars, that's good. So it's got this political stability modifier. We want that at 100% because it's low. Manufacturing is lower than it ought to be, and that means that our manufacturing is not great. So at the moment, this isn't a major issue because there's so few mines and things here. Actually, well, I actually have a worker shortage on Mars, so just focus on letting this place grow. I know we're terraforming it and it should get to breathable soon, but in the meantime, because we have a worker shortage, I'm going to add demand for infrastructure. Add demand, let's say 1,000. We have it. And when Mars is terraformed, we can just take it off of Mars. It's not consumed, right? It's stored there. Okay, so what else are we going to do? Shipyards. Okay, you're still retooling. You're still building. We just want this engine. It should be ready soon. Okay, now the now the fun begins. Okay, there are quite a lot of things that we're going to do here. We need to, the way we're going to play this is, the enemy typically masses missiles. That's the way I've generally found it. So what I'm going to do, and I've tried this before and it's worked at least not terribly, is we're going to build one big ship, right? And that's going to be kind of a flag, a capital ship. We might get one, we might get two, depending on how this goes. So we're going to build that in this shipyard. And all these other smaller shipyards, their goal is to going to build what are going to be basically our point defense ships. So we're just going to have as many point defense guns on these ships as I can possibly fit on them. They're not going to really be defensive. They're not going to have shields. They have some armor, not a lot. But our big ship is going to be very, very heavily defended. And the reason for this is that we're only going to put the sensors on the big ship because you only need them on the big ship. And the AI has a tendency to only target the ships with the sensors first. So the one way this can backfire is if they do kill this ship, then I have no sensors and I just have to, I'm dead. You just have to run away. But it does mean that we have a designated tank, as it were, and we can tank him. We can make him tanky. So we have to design a whole heap of components for these military ships that we haven't really had to consider before. So let's try and not make any mistakes. We've got Space Master here in case we do make mistakes. So that is very good to know. So let's first figure out what I need. There are a lot of things I'm going to need. Sensors. We've got a thermal sensor, but maybe let's make a better or a bigger one. Sensor size 20. I'm not sure how this relates to the one we already have. So depending on the strength depends on how far I can detect something. So let's go ahead and create that. Now, I want some active sensors. Now the purpose of the active sensor is, so if you're familiar with submarines, your thermal sensors in this case is basically just measuring what radiation is out there, so you can detect based on the enemy's emissions. An active sensor, you're emitting your own emissions and you're detecting the enemy based on their reflection. Are they more accurate? They're a different kind of sensor. So if they have a very low thermal emission, I guess you struggle to find them, but we definitely do need these. They're really important. So we select a resolution. The lower the resolution you choose, it means, or the higher resolution, the lower the number. The smaller ship you're trying to detect, it means that your sensor will only be able to detect at shorter ranges. If you choose a high resolution, like 19,000 tons, you'll be able to detect at a much longer range. So for this, guys, let's go for 15,000. Actually, let's make it go for 20,000. So that's quite a high resolution, but this does mean it will still be able to detect smaller ships at closer ranges. And then we choose the sensor size. So you can look at here the range versus 1,000 ton object is 80,000 kilometers. So let's throw this up to a size 15. So, okay, so what does this mean? So, okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so this is for detecting ships, but we also need is it active sensors? We also need a sensor with the lowest possible resolution. Is it beam fire control? No, it is active sensors. We do need one with the lowest possible resolution to be able to detect missiles. You have to be able to detect missiles in order to be able to shoot them. I mean, that seems rather self-intuitive, but we do. So you need the lowest resolution possible to detect the missile. So let's do that. Search sensor on, missile fire control. No, it's a search sensor. That's what we need. And the good thing is, if we do make mistakes here, you can just use Space Master to correct them, and that's good. And hopefully we won't need to, but we can if we do need to. So those are sensors done. Okay. Now let's do our shields. So the best shield possible, shield best regenerate possible, and we can let's go with the biggest size shield possible. I'm going to put a few on the ship. So the higher the sensor, the higher the size, the better. Create. And I think we need a power plant. Well, let's design one too while we're here. It might be possible that we don't need it, but let's go with a power plant size of 15. Oh, that's quite a lot boronite. Power output, oh, that's much more than we actually need. It's much more than we'd ever possibly need. Power output, that's still quite a lot. Okay, so I'm not sure if we'll need this. I don't think, but let's just put this, let's just have it in case we do need it. Okay. So, the business end, we need guns. we need guns, and what we're going to use is Gauss cannons. These rapid high fire rate, short distance, we're going to use these to shoot missiles and any enemy ships if they happen to come close enough. And you can choose a different range of hull size and accuracy. The biggest hull size that you have, the more accurate they become. But you can see that the proportions are basically exactly the same. So if you go to 3 hull size, you get 50% chance, and the ratio seems to be, it should end up almost exactly the same, I think, statistics wise. Maybe sometimes these things can be a little bit tricksy, but so let's go for 1 hull size. But what we actually want to do is put these into a turret. And why I want to do this is because you can get a much higher tracking rate with these things. Get better tracking rate speed. So we need to actually design the Gauss gun first. Okay, there's a lot going on here. So let's go create that. And the other weapon that we wanted to make is our rail gun. Now the rail gun is going to be going on our capital ship, and it's going to hit enemies at range. So you can see it's got max range of 60,000 kilometers, but with the right fire control system, it will be able to hit it at faster ranges, at further ranges, not faster. So let's create that. Okay, now let's head over to our research screen. I wish we had more of these now. So the first thing I want to do is make sure kinetic weapons. I want to instant this. Let's instant that too. In fact, let's just instant as much as we possibly can. Sensors. No, that's power and propulsion. Sensors. Where are you? Thermal sensor? Yes. Active search sensors. Oh, these are expensive. We're gonna run out. Okay, let's see if we can make that turret now, because you've designed the actual gun to put in the turret. So we had one, so let's go to turret design. Okay, now this is the weapon that we designed. So here we have a turret. Hooray! And you can see it has a whole bunch of characteristics. So we're going to go create, and now naturally we have to research this too, but if we can, let's instance it. Confusingly, I think it sits in energy weapons. A lot of the turret stuff sits here for reasons I'm unclear about. Okay, so let's see if I have everything I need. So, new ship class, let's make it a frigate. Rename class, let's just call it frigate. Imaginative naming as ever. So this is going to be a military vessel. I want them to be able to go quick, fast. We're going to get better engines later on, and that means that I want these guys to be able to keep up with whatever comes later on. Armor rating 1 is important now, because a lot of other things become important now that weren't important before. Armor rating is important because you're going to get shot. That logic there is great. I'll show it later on, but basically how armor is done in this game is because armor rating 3 horizontal lines. When you get hit, it gets randomly a placed target, and based on the weapon characteristics, it'll do some damage, but you only start taking internal damage once all the armor has been depleted. So that's a very fast description of how that works. Okay, let's okay, what order do we go into? Now we're not going to put sensors on this ship. This ship is going to use the sensors from the capital ship. So that's a big bonus here. So let's just throw the turrets on, huh? Oh boy, okay, that's turret 1. And remember, we designed up to 14,000 tons. So right now we've got 9 turrets. The ship has beam weapons, but no beam fire control. Knew I forgot something. Beam fire controls. It's no good having a weapon. You need to tell it how to shoot. I wish I kept more points to instance these things. Missile active sensors fire control. No. Beam fire control. Beam fire. No, not that. Beam fire control. Here we are. Okay, now, yeah, pick the biggest range possible. Fire rating speed, I think that's fine. Normal range. Now, because the gun only has a range of about 30,000, and it's probably only going to be able to get one shot off, largely because of how fast missiles work. Probably only going to get one shot off. So having a max range doesn't really matter too much. So we're going to leave it as this. 48,000 kilometers, tracking speed is what it is, and I think that's going to be fine. Now, we also need the beam fire control for our long range rail gun. So we want to be able to go much further. Now, normal size range, we're going to jack this up to maybe 4 times. 4 times the size, 4 times the range. And it doesn't actually increase the size very much, but it's going to massively increase. It's going to massively increase how far it can shoot. Tracking speed 3000 is actually quite low, I think. And if you crank up the size, we can get that up, but be careful because this multiplying number is multiplied by this multiple here. So currently we're 4 times, but if we take this up to 2, it will be 8 times. So we need to, let's see if that happens. So we're at 100 tons. If we make this 2 times, 200 tons, that's still okay. 6,000 tracking speed. We only need one of these though, so we can spend a bit. I think that's fine. This might be a little bit overkill, but I think it's going to be fine. Create. Let's see if we can instance these. I don't know if we're going to be able to. Sensors and control systems. We are going to be able to. Hooray! Why do we have? Okay, so instance that and instance that. Hooray! Okay, so back to our frigate. Where are you? Here you are. Okay. Oh boy, maybe I need to refresh you. Okay, frigate. Beam fire control. Now, obviously, put the right one on, which is this one. Hooray! Okay. One problem solved at a time. Okay. Obviously, it needs more fuel. So we don't want to put too much fuel on. 84 days, that's probably more than enough. We're going to fill it up before it goes into combat. We might have to change this a little bit. We definitely need more maintenance supplies. Maintenance supplies 77, max repair 215. Definitely need more, especially if they take damage. But these ships, maintenance storage, probably not going to be too much of an issue. So let's throw some maintenance supplies here. Maintenance life, let's get that down to 1 year. We do that with adding engineering spaces. I mean, down to 1 year, so that's actually fine. That's more than we need, I think. Now, let's add another engine. Remember, we're targeting 14,000 tons. That's probably fast enough. I have a feeling our big ship is going to be slower. So, in that case, more turrets. Okay, we've slowed down a little bit, add another engine. Okay, we're a little bit over now. So let's take off a few turrets. These are a lot of turrets. Okay, so how are we looking? Maintenance supplies, I think are fine. Your failure rate 508%, but we've got enough to repair it. Maintenance life, I think, is okay. I think everything here checks out. I think everything here is going to check out. Tracking speed, I'm worried about this. I'm worried that this is much too low. We actually want to get this down to about 10,000, not 3,000. Is there some critical technology I've neglected? Turret tracking speed. energy weapons. Yeah, there is. I think this is a critical technology. So who is our best energy weapons guy? How fast can we get this? No, not you. There's in fact no one here. So let's just choose our guy with the most research labs and just throw everything at this problem. I think this is a very important tech to actually get, because those turrets are going to need to be able to target this missile. So I'm going to keep going until we get this tech. Hopefully it won't be only be about a month. Okay, okay. In the meantime, let's build these terraformers. Okay. So let's see how much better beam fire control system we can make. 3000. Normal size speed range. Something went wrong. Something here went wrong. Let's go back here. What beam fire control systems do we have? Got this one. I don't know why this is so low. This should have been much higher. I might have accidentally not increased the size. So I'm glad I caught that problem. So let's make a new one. Beam fire control. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Normal size range is fine. But speed size, max speed. That's what I want. Create. So let's have run out of instant research points, which is a problem. But sensors and control. Let's rush this. Sensors and control. Hopefully that will only take a day or two. Come on. Okay. Okay. So now we've got the fire control system that I need. Let's remove that. Oh, that would have been a terrible mistake. Track and speed is basically as it sounds. So generally how it works is that the ship uses the lowest track and speed that you have. So it's either going to be the 10,000, probably 10,000 track and speed from the turret, which is okay, but I need a fire control system to at least match it. So that's what we've got here, 13,896 tons. Everything else here seems fine. 42 days is low, and I'm going to fix that by removing that turret and adding more fuel storages, Let's see how many I can get. Ooh. One too many. Let's add a medium. Okay, 56 days. That will have to do. That should be enough for a battle. Okay, this is our frigate. Okay, now let's design our cruiser. Now the cruiser we can design to a much higher spec because we have a 50,000 ton capacity shipyard. It regrettably might take some time to build, but new ship class, what shall we call it? Cruiser, because I have a very well developed imagination. So the long range fire control system, and you're going to put in a short range too. We'll put some Gauss cannons on it, not very many, but it will need both the active sensors, the tiny one and the much bigger one, and the thermal sensors. Which one is the big one? Sensitivity 120. This is the more modern one. Okay, so it's these three components that this ship has that the other doesn't, that's really going to set it apart. Yeah, has beam fire control but no beam weapons. We're going to give it much more armor. Let's try 8 for now. We're going to give it a heap of shield generators if I can find them. Maybe I didn't research shield generator. Balls. Defensive systems, shield generator. Gamma shields, Okay, let's rush this. You could use Space Master to instance it, but it should only take a month. But in the meantime, let's set which shipyards can to making our frigates. Retool. You're still busy, and all the other ones are busy. They're adding a capacity. So as they come online, they'll start to build these frigates. So let's get that shield generator. The shield generators are actually quite like. Makes the ship unsurprisingly much more durable, and it's way of generating hit points during battle. Okay, defensive systems. I think I need to refresh you. Cruiser, where are you? Defensive systems, where are you? Shields. Hooray, there you go. Gamma. Ha. 2. Where are you? 5. 5 is quite a lot. 6 as well. Okay. We're gonna need a ton of engines for this bad boy. Now it's important that we're gonna match the frigate speed. It's use 6,000, so oof, 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 oof. We might not get to 6,000 on this ship. We'll see how we go. Okay, so the main thing this ship is going to bring to the party is the sensors. We're also going to put these big railguns on it. So when it gets in range, it's going to shoot at things. So that's fine. And one thing to note is that when a gun is not turreted, like beam guns, like a railgun is, its tracking speed is the ship speed. If the ship speed is less than 5,000, I think it gets limited at 5,000. But if you want to increase the tracking speed of a non-turreted gun, it is just the ship speed. So we're going to put some gas guns on it as well, kind of just for thematic reasons. It could just as well not have them and depend on its friends. Okay, I wonder if it's necessary to go much bigger than 35,000 tons actually, because this ship has everything that we need. Just because of how important they are, I think we should have redundancy in the active sensors. Okay, we need maintenance storages as well, and fuel. Okay, where's maintenance storage at? Okay, so 3,000 is fine. Engineering spaces. Let's get maintenance life up to at least 1 year. 2 years is fine. We've got the right kind of speed. We have a ton of shield generators, high armor rating. Are there any other just nice things that we could put on it that we don't necessarily need? No, I'm happy with this. Command and control, bridge, comes with a bridge. I think this ship is done. Okay, 6,179. Yeah. Look, we could make it bigger, but things... No. 3 days at full power. That's a problem. Much more fuel. And you can see the fuel spaces don't add too much. They are slowing the boat down. The frigate was 56 days at full power. No reason to exceed that. I think we will need another engine. One more engine. Well, I said we weren't going to get up to 50,000 tons, but that was a lie. We need the fuel. I think this ship is done. Reactors are generating insufficient power for the weapons. We do need the reactor. And the 900, I think, is it for the railgun? I'm not super 100% sure. But reactors are very cheap. But they have not researched it. Is this another component I haven't researched? I think it is. Power and propulsion. Where are you? Do we race design power plant? Gas cooled fast reactor. Is that the best thing that I did? Because it's power plants. Gas cooled fast reactor. Yeah, I think I must have instanced it and used all my points on it. So let's rush that. There's always something that you miss. That won't take long. And then once I can put a reactor on it, I'll start building them. And then we can start building the fleet. Yeah, well, that's never a good sign. Okay, where are you, cruiser? Reactors, power plants, reactors. Now, this does generate a lot of power. And the way I think it works, I really should confirm this. It's 9.2. So you multiply some of these numbers by something. I wish it would say how much power it actually needed. But these things are so cheap that this is almost certainly much more than I need. Yeah, so they're cheap and small. So cruiser is finished. Let's start building it. Yes. We have many warehouse guns, and that there is you can just add more of these things. And as you get better tech, the only thing you need to do is match the speed, and you can just add them on. Shipyards. So retool, cruiser, set activity, start production. Let's have a look. Shipyards. Okay. Cruiser, so it started production. You really turn into frigate. These are preparing. Now, obviously, the cruiser is going to take much longer to build than these guys. And you can see it's been built. So I hate the way it cuts off the most important parts of the completion date. I don't know how to do that. But it will complete at some time in the future. And yeah. We've designed our fleet that's going to go and kill the enemy. And we're just going to keep adding frigates until we have a nice sizable force that we're happy with. Now, one thing that is worth it out is my racial wealth is now negative. It was never a problem before. And the reason for this is because I'm building so many damn ships and expanding so many shipyards. They consume wealth. And if wealth gets negative, that's bad. You start getting economic production modifiers, bad ones. So it's bad news. And the higher the racial wealth you have, the higher the chances of getting civilian mining facilities being built, as we have received. So let's just check our mineral situation. Neutronium is low. Neutronium is low. And if you click on mining, if it comes up with a bad red number, it means that you're having some kind of deficiencies. But we can look at our ship designs. And if we go into components, we can see how much they cost. So the frigate here costs 26 neutronium. So that's not really an issue. The cruiser costs 200 neutronium. They mostly cost uranium and gallicite. I think gallicite's for the engines. So I probably have enough neutronium that that's not so much of an issue. And I think I have a wide enough spread that's fine too. But I have a lot of, well, maybe a lot's a bit of a generous term, but I have more than I need here. And Gong Gong is here making corundum, tritanium, and vanadite. Europa is where my neutronium comes from. But let's 29. It's got a demand. So let's supply 40 automated mines, and hopefully they can make their way to Gong Gong as I start building more. Let's have a look at Mars and what it's doing. So, hopefully this starts getting better. Maybe we need more ground units. And then you can unload them all. Let's have a look at, so yeah, look at Mars, look at the environment. Still quite some, yeah, I thought I was so much closer to having a breathable atmosphere. Mining to boronite, corbamite. I don't think I have any issue in shortages with those anytime soon. That's boronite and corbamite, everything seems fine. Tetra is low accessibility quantities, but massive quantities. And the idea here is that as I build up this place, there'll be a healthy amount of things here. Environment, how close are you? You're still maybe heaps away. Need heaps more infrastructure. I think the civilian economy will provide them with infrastructure. And Gatus B. No mines here yet. Civilian economy, the orders are in there too. So I think they must largely they're coming here. They're probably mostly transferring colonists and whatnot. And if you ever look at Gatas, yeah, so they're doing the thing, but it takes some time. The distances to travel within the solar system are quite large. So yeah, I think we're in a good situation. We found aliens, we built up a nice fleet. We've got currently no frigates are actually in construction, but we've got 5 shipyards prepping for it. And hopefully they'll be ready soon. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. We're gonna start killing these aliens soon. One thing that these ships are definitely gonna need is more and better tankers. But I think that's a problem for the next episode. I'll design better tankers for them because I want to fill them up full of fuel before they jump in. And they're not going to jump in. I'm actually going to build a jump gate to get them into the system. That's how I've avoided building jump drives on these ships. So thank you for joining me for this episode. We've designed our combat fleet, built it up. Talked a little bit about the design strategy of the fleet I'm going to be using. And the next episode, we're going to, I guess, build them mostly. And when we have enough sizable fleet, we are going to visit the aliens and visit our love upon them. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you see you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.